Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to another very interesting discussion. We have with us two really very interesting professionals from uh, far across the spectrum, the professional spectrum. We have with us Deputy Minister Christos Dimas, κύριε Δήμα, καλησπέρα, and Nico Gariboldi from Pfizer, the lead person here in Thessaloniki. Let me first tell you that we at the American-Hellenic Chamber of Commerce, and to be fair, I think every business association in Greece, we have been advocating for many years about the need to focus on innovation and research in a more substantial way. The fact that today we have a deputy minister responsible for exactly that same thing, it's tremendously encouraging and gives us power to continue our efforts. Mr. Dimas has done, along with the government, of course, and his colleagues, miracles in that area. And I'm sure there are many things that are yet to be done. On the other hand, Pfizer, I think, is the most well advertised success story we have, especially here in Thessaloniki. We've been discussing not a long time ago with Mr. Agoussis that if you had a penny for every time we praise Pfizer in Thessaloniki, I think you don't have to do anything else. Regardless of that, I'm very happy I have you both discussing today at the Dialogues Initiative. Let me start with the Deputy Minister. You had a huge task when you became Deputy Minister in that specific area, especially for a country like Greece that was in many levels well behind from what we wanted it to be. After that period of time, what do you think are the key milestones of your success story with regard to innovation and research in our country? And at the end of the day, regardless of whether it sounds very nice, can we honestly become an R&D hub for at least our broader geoeconomic region?
Hello, Mr. Costopoulos. Hello, Mr. Gariboldi. And it's a great pleasure to be with you today, even if that is through teleconference. Allow me to say that in terms of research expenditure, R&D expenditure, Greece was in the 16th position when compared to the other EU member states. However, according to the first results from the European Commission, we have seen that in the last year, Greece has had the largest increase of the last decade. Actually, R&D expenditure rose by 17.2%, which is a very significant increase, and it will help increase Greece's position in the rankings. In terms of innovation, if we take into account the European Innovation Scoreboard, Greece was in the 20th position. Again, the European Commission did note a couple of months ago that Greece was among the 5 member states with the most important improvement. So yes, we have seen some important steps forward, but of course, our goal is to do better and better year by year. Regarding if Greece can become a research and innovation hub for the Balkans and Southeastern Europe for the region, I think that Pfizer has already answered that question, and Mr. Gariboldi can give you all of the details. When such an important company invests, actually selects Thessaloniki and Greece in order to make such a great investment, and when I'm talking about an investment, I'm not only talking about an investment in terms of capital, but also in terms of human capital. You understand that the answer is, of course, Greece can become the main research and innovation hub for the Balkans and Southeastern Europe, and that is a government's goal as well, and that's why we have been proceeding with very important investments in research and innovation, investing in tax incentives, in important actions through the cohesion money, and also in important facilities, especially taking advantage of the Recovery and Resilience Fund.
Thank you. Mr. Gariboldi, ever since 2018, when we started this tremendous effort, along with many other actors as well, to transform Northern Greece and Thessaloniki into an investment, in essence, hub, Pfizer had a pivotal role. It has been a key pillar in this effort. Now what you have created here in Thessaloniki is up and running for quite some time. Can you tell us a little bit more about, from your perspective, your key milestones, what you think you have achieved up to now, and what's next?
First of all, thanks for inviting me, and it's really a pleasure being here with you and also with Mr. Dimas for making this discussion. And thanks for all your words, because I would say we are really happy that Pfizer is in some way leading, I would say, this effort, and also is considered a benchmark for what we did here in Thessaloniki. I think the milestones are really huge. So considering that we started, as you also said, in 2018 under pandemic, in 2020, sorry, under pandemic, and now we are, after 2 years, we hired more or less more than 400 people. So more than 400 people, this is a huge achievement, because under pandemic was not easy, virtually, and also I would say we are really happy also of the outcome, because at the end of the story, these are all cutting-edge capabilities that we hired for this type of center. So here we have data scientists, people working on cybersecurity, working on artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, process automation. So this is a big achievement that we got. And also, for me, another big achievement is the outcomes that in some way this center is delivering, because it's really, as you know well, this is a global center for Pfizer, and we are supporting all the activities that our company is doing, and these people are working on more than 200 global projects, actually. So these people in this center in Thessaloniki, they are working very actively across the world, in Asia, Europe, US, for making projects that are supporting Pfizer. So this is a big milestone, and I would say that also if we think about the activities that we are doing, these are really key for Pfizer. Pfizer is now really committed a lot on working on the digital strategy. And if you think about our global digital strategy, we have 3 main, I would say, pillars that also these people are working on, that we could summarize in the following way. So first of all, digital, it's supporting all the activities for improving I would say, all the healthcare outcome for our patients. So this is really important. So, for example, the projects that people are doing are really connected, for example, improving the diagnosis, the treatment, and also the adherence when we have patients, I would say, that are managing a disease. So digital is supporting all of this. But also, really important, we are also bringing medicines and also vaccine faster to our patients. So this is another key milestone and also key strategy for digital, because thanks to digital, we are improving and also accelerating all the research aspects of drug discovery, drug development, and also the supply of all the drugs to our patients. So just for giving you some example, for example, in drug development, as you may know, clinical trials are really supported by digital. So this is a very important, I would say, type of project that colleagues are currently doing in our center. But also, I would say the supply, because through, I would say, combining operational excellence with digital, we are now able to deliver our drugs very quick to our patients. So, for example, during the distribution of the COVID vaccine was really accelerated through digital. So all these kind of things, I would say, they are part of the strategy that we are implementing also here in the Center for Digital Innovation. And also, I would say the part of research, it's also another very important milestone, also strategy that we are applying, because thanks to especially advanced analytics, supercomputing, quantum computing, this type of activities that we are also managing in the center, we are also able to supporting the drug discovery, because thanks to these capabilities, we can test also virtually, I would say, some molecules, and we can, I would say, accelerate this process also of drug discovery. Other milestone also, if I can add very briefly, and I'm really happy also, this is the connection that we are having here with the ecosystem here in Thessaloniki. So, for example, we are making very important projects in open innovation, for example, with startup, with universities, with Aristotle University, Patras, and also CERT. So these are all key milestones that we are achieving through our activities here in the Center for Digital Innovation.
Thank you. I want to keep. I want to take the last words that you say, Minister. In all our efforts at the AmCham, especially when we visit innovation districts or hubs in the United States, we always see that close to major investments like the one that Pfizer has done here in Thessaloniki, there is a huge ecosystem of smaller companies that emerge and are in a way empowered by those key pillars. Do you see from your efforts, even with Elevate Greece, that the investments that companies like Pfizer, like Cisco, like Deloitte has done here in Thessaloniki or in other places around Greece, that they empower such a movement, such a positive impact to our startup community or our business community?
Yes, definitely. And allow me to start by saying that when I was a member of the parliament for the main opposition party, that was more than 3 years ago. I would travel to many European cities and American cities, and I would always meet Greek startuppers in such innovation districts, innovation facilities. And my question was always, why do Greek talented individuals have to move outside Greece in order to become competitive at a global stage? So one of the first initiatives that we took was to see how we can create such an innovation district in Greece. And the international public tender for the innovation district in Attica is coming to its end. There's a lot of interest from great consortia. Allow me to just briefly point out that an innovation district is a place where you have startups, spin-offs, companies that invest in R&D, universities, research centers, and the main issue is to see how you can create synergies through matchmaking events for the production of innovative products and services. But apart from Athens, we are also creating a similar infrastructure in Thessaloniki with Thesintech, a technological park of fourth generation. And we really hope that companies like Pfizer and other innovative companies will cooperate with Thesintech and will have common interests. Thessaloniki has, of course, a strategic advantage that is only a couple hours by car from many Balkan cities and universities and research centers. And in that case, we are hoping to attract companies to establish all of their R&D department in Thesintech and create.
And then we will invest in high-speed internet at some point. So until Mr. Dimas is reconnected.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Now we can.
And since you mentioned Elevate Greece is a different initiative. Allow me to say that up until recently, the Greek state did not know how many startups we had, in which sector they were, how many people they employed, what budgets they had. We had absolutely no information about the startup ecosystem. And when you don't have data, it is very difficult to apply, to implement policies that are effective. In fact, we didn't even have a definition for what companies were startup companies. So it was difficult to differentiate between companies that were newly formed, startups, or even companies that were operating for many years and were still innovative. So we did refer to the National Council of Research, Innovation and Technology, ESETEC. We did come up with a definition for startups. But more importantly, we map the startup ecosystem through Elevate Greece, which operates as a registry for the startup ecosystem. But apart from that, for the first time, we did give specific tax incentives for angel investors, for stock options. We ran a very successful action for increasing the liquidity of the startup ecosystem due to the pandemic crisis. But apart from that, apart from the public policies, we attracted a lot of private sector companies, and I'm very proud to say that Pfizer was one of the first companies becoming an official partner of Elevate Greece, and we did run a very successful hackathon a couple of months ago with Pfizer, and the logic for Elevate Greece and the private sector was to see how private companies, whether that is multinational companies, banks, or other institutional actors, can support the ecosystem with important tools. These tools might be money awards, hackathons, free cloud services, access to global innovation networks they may have, specified banking products, mentoring, business planning, and other services that are absolutely necessary for the startup ecosystem. So Elevate Greece has become an important tool in order to enable the startup ecosystem, fuel up the ecosystem, and give more opportunities to talented individuals and academics that can be competitive to do so from Greece.
Given both your efforts with Elevate Greece, but as you said, with the broader efforts of establish these two main innovation, let's say, districts in Thessaloniki and in Athens, but also given your long experience before you ran into politics from abroad, are you concerned at all with the available talent pool for all those for all that dynamism that we identify in our discussion? It has been an issue that we discussed in other panels in this today, so it's very interesting to have your opinion as well.
Yeah, I think everybody across the world would want their country to have more and more talented individuals, more people with specific skills that are necessary in the global market currently. So the answer initially would be that yes, we do want more talented individuals, and yes, we want to see how we can have them. So if you ask Mr. Gariboldi, he will tell you that Pfizer was very successful in attracting talented and skilled individuals in the company. Many of them did come from Greece, but a lot of them also came from abroad. So there was a brain gain, which is a very, very important issue for the Greek government, and that's why we have given specific incentives for more investment in R&D. For example, we did increase the tax super deduction rates for R&D expenditure from 130% to 200%, and we do proudly say that we have the most competitive incentives for tax super deduction in the European Union. Apart from that, and the purpose was to boost R&D investment, because R&D investments do create good job opportunities for skilled individuals. So reattracting many of the people that left the country was and remains a big priority. At the same time, though, we are creating innovation clusters. We are creating competence centers in order to allow more and more companies to have access to research and innovation, which is necessary in order to create good job opportunities. Now, for the talent, I will tell you that we are working with several companies in order to see how we can have, for example, more people into coding. This is an issue that the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Labor Affairs are also dealing with. We want to see how we can have more coders. In many cases, coders do not necessarily need to have a university degree. Just to point out that, yes, a university degree is an extremely important certificate, but on some occasions it's not a prerequisite. So trying to see how we can have reskill and upskill a lot of people within the general population is a priority for the Greek government.
Thank you. Mr. Gariboldi, you have a superb experience in working in, I think, the creme de la creme of the Western world. You have worked in the States, in UK, obviously, I think in Italy. Now you're working in Thessaloniki, which is the best place in the world. What do you think are the key differences with regard to people, and especially the younger generation, the graduates, with regard to Greece and abroad, both in terms of, I think, the skills, but also with regard to their mentality?
I think this is a great question. I would say one of the reasons why we came here and we developed also the business case for coming to Thessaloniki was about talents, so the talent pool. So I think that what we found was really what we were searching for, because, and also as mentioned before, we hired very quickly, but it's not only a discussion about numbers and also the speed that we hire these people, it's also about the quality. So I think that we found very good talents here in Thessaloniki, in Greece in general. And also, I would say we are talking about the cutting edge capabilities. So I think that this was really, really successful. So I would say from this perspective, this was not a surprise, because this was part of our planning. And when we found here, we found really great, I would say, talents for making our job. So this was really good. And also, as mentioned by Mr. Dimas before, the other thing that was really complementary in our searching for talents was also attracting talents from abroad. So a lot of people that, due to the crisis that we had some years ago, they went away, they came back. So they took capabilities to our organization, but also a global international experience. So this was key. And so, as I said, in terms of universities, in terms of education, this is really an high profile, high quality profile here in Greece. In terms of attitude, I would say if we talk about training and the way that they approach also to learning and development, I think this is a key part of also our work in terms of retention of this population. So I think it's not only about Greek people, but it's mainly about millennials people, I would say the young generation, because they're really attractive and also they really care about upskilling and also reskilling. So this is a key lever that we are working on here in CDI. So we are really providing to them a great program for learning and development. They are really eager to spend their time on that. So we are really committed in creating this learning culture together with them. And this is really working well, because as I said before, especially for digital, and this was also part of the previous discussion, we need to reskill very frequently this population with these capabilities. Because if I remember well from the World Economic Forum, so there was a statistic that was really impressive. So by 2025, 50% of the capabilities should be reskilled. So this is for saying that technologies are always changing, capabilities are always changing, and we need to train people according to this. So just for summarize, I would say good quality, great quality of talents, young talents, and also more seniors, but also great attitude to learning and development as a key lever also for us for retail.
Well, Minister, I think you will agree we have to make Mr. Gariboldi's point a global advertisement for our Greek youth. I mean, he said it all. Now, this question is for both of you, of course. But in this huge opportunity, is there area for groups that we sometimes leave aside as women talent, or as even I was reading an article from, you mentioned it with the World Economic Forum. They were talking about the tremendous opportunity that exists with people with disabilities that we always leave aside. And if we add that to a broader discussion about the the challenges on social cohesion, can we somehow, in this new innovation hub or R&D hub that Greece envisions to become, set the pillars that everyone will be welcomed in this huge table? Minister?
I will try to answer the question because I didn't hear it very well, but allow me to say that access to information and to research and innovation should be wide open to everybody. And that's why it's absolutely necessary to give opportunities of research and innovation, not only to larger companies like Pfizer that have the ability to invest in R&D, but also to smaller, to SMEs, and that's why we are creating the innovation clusters. At the same time, the facilities I mentioned, for example, Thesin Tech, or the innovation district in Attica, one of my biggest dreams is that, first of all, they will have open access, so anyone wanting to visit them should be capable of visiting. But also, I would really want to see a lot of schools in different ages arranging field trips there, understanding how research and innovation can be interlinked from a very young age, looking at the results of research and innovation, learning about the effects in our everyday lives and the importance it has to the society, to the economy, to everybody. And that is why it is extremely important to try to publicize at a much larger extent about the important impact, the crucial impact that research and innovation has to everyday life. I did hear, though, a comment, I think, about women, and I do want to make a statement that, as I said, we now have data about the innovation ecosystem. And one of the most worrying data that we have had is the fact, in terms of founders of our startup ecosystem, 8 out of 10 founders are men. That means only 2 out of 10 are women. So here is arguably one of the most important problems we are dealing with. And we have created a new institute within Athena Research Center about female innovative entrepreneurship. And we are speaking with a lot of institutional actors to see how we can implement policies, apply policies that will actually help boost the percentage of women entrepreneurs. And having visited Pfizer, I was very, very pleased to see that gender balance was respected to a very large extent. I wouldn't expect anything different, to be honest, from a company like Pfizer, but the fact that we haven't achieved to encourage more women to enter the startup ecosystem as founders is a very important problem, and we are considering important actions to see how we can boost this percentage.
Minister, I want to stay with you for one more quick question. There is a huge discussion about the EU Recovery Fund. How much that allows opportunities for your endeavors? How much the RRF can help your endeavors in boosting both research and innovation?
The Recovery and Resilience Fund is a golden opportunity with which the country, but also research and innovation, could not miss out. It really is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in terms of funding. So we have made, in my view, a lot of moves towards that direction. Allow me to say, for the first time ever, all of the research centers in the country will upgrade significantly their research infrastructure. For example, in Thessaloniki, Eketa, CERT, will have its new buildings within Thessaloniki funded by the Recovery and Resilience Fund, and I'm sure that these are buildings that will be very, very important in the near future, not only for Thessaloniki but for research and innovation in the country. So apart from upgrading the research and infrastructure facilities for all of the research centers in the country, we are also funding important programs for basic research, for applied research. We have funded actions for the Seal of Excellence. We have increased the budget for the very successful action of Research, Create, Innovate, ερευνώ, δημιουργώ, καινοτομώ. We are funding actions with the Ministry of Defense in order to make much better use of research and innovation in national defense, which is a priority for our country, but also with the Ministry of Agricultural Development as well. So we are trying to take advantage. We are also funding the increased extroversity that our startup ecosystem needs. So building bridges with countries, companies, institutions, funds that are abroad and do have an interest on the Greek startup ecosystem. So we are taking advantage of this opportunity to the largest possible extent. And we are very, very optimistic that all of these, the combination of all of these policies will truly help the country to become the main research and innovation hub of the regional neighborhood.
Thank you. Ms. Gariboldi, last question for you. You have been the sparkle of all those amazing things that Minister is describing. So what can we expect from Pfizer in the near future? What comes next?
I think we did a lot. So as we also
You can do more.
Yes, for sure. We did a lot, but the plan is doing more. So I would say for now, really, let me explain like this. So these 2 years, in some way, especially the first one, was really setting up this center, and we made it. We found the right capabilities. We developed the operating model. So now they are part of the projects. But really, the near future is for sure expanding even more, I would say, this organization. And this is something that we are going to make for sure. But also being even more, I would say, a reference point within Pfizer, because I think this is really important. So this center is really going to prove to be a key component of the global digital organization. And these people, as I said, that they're really working well with all the global team. And also the other ambition that we have, it's also the developing even more all these projects that we are doing in open innovation here with the ecosystem. So I think this is key. This is key with the collaboration that, for example, we are making with Mr. Dimas for Elevate Greece, for collaborating with university. This model of open innovation, it's something that we want to even develop even more in the next future. So this is, I would say, in some way, the ambition that we have in the Center for Digital Innovation.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you both. I wish we had more time. Minister, thank you so much for connecting with us, and we hope next time we can have you physically with us. Mr. Gariboldi, again, thank you so much for your presence and for all the great things that you're building here in Thessaloniki. Hopefully we can somehow empower all those amazing opportunities to the rest of Greece as well, since obviously there is talent and great initiatives there as well. And we continue. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.